So I did 30K on it, or 27. Um, got to the medic. They were like, yeah, that's not great. That's obviously not. It wasn't. They didn't recommend me running on it, but I don't think they could tell me not to. So they basically just were like, if you continue on, do not roll it again. Like it will not be good if you roll it again. And they were like, keep going. You're just going to be in a lot of pain. So it was Jody, and I was like, all right, let's do this. So we went out together for like another 52 kilometers.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Leave Average for Joe, presented by Briggs and Co. It's an absolute pleasure to present to you Sarah Magyar. She is an ultra runner, and she came on the show to chat with me about her recent event, the 100 kilometers in British Columbia, Canada. Sarah, it was an absolute pleasure to get to know you, to get to know all of your adventures and the grit determination that you have in order for you to accomplish these incredible feats. There's so much to take away from this episode, including some tools and tactics that Sarah uses to get through some of these longer runs, how to train, nutrition, all of that good stuff. I do want to say that there were some technical difficulties in a few phases of the show, unfortunately, but we still got through it, and the content is just as good and as high quality as we always look for in each and every episode. So without further ado, welcome to the show.
My name is Sarah. I live in Canmore, Alberta, which is located just outside of Banff National Park. I'm an ultra trail runner, not the fastest, but it's something I enjoy doing. And I do work full time in marketing, and I work full time content creation marketing. I do think that is part of my personality, and I'm okay. That work is part of who I am. I love it very much. So but if I'm not behind a computer screen or trail running, something's terribly wrong because those are about the two things that I do the most of.
Amazing. So I would love for you to share kind of how you got into this. I think Canmore is for people that don't know, a beautiful, beautiful town nestled in the Rocky Mountains, and Banff, I guess, too, kind of if Banff is more familiar to some. But it is also kind of a melting pot and an area that a lot of people from all over the world travel and hang out. So I'm not sure your specific background, which is actually really exciting for me because I feel like I know very little. And so I'm going to just kind of play listener as well right now,
Yeah.
and would love to hear your story, kind of where you grew up, the hobbies that you had when you were growing up, and then how they kind of led you into the running that you do now.
Yeah, for sure. So I grew up just outside of Toronto, in Ontario. I grew up as a competitive dancer. So I actually was a competitive dancer for about 18 years. So nothing to do with running. If anything, I was a sprinter. Like during my elementary school and high school days, I was like 100K, or sorry, 100 meter. I'm very used to saying 100 kilometers at this point.
No
100
kidding.
meter. Yeah, oh my God. I'm a 100-meter sprinter, and I also did pole vaulting. So I feel like competitiveness and like fitness has always been in my background. My mom got her personal training when I was younger, certificate. She became a Pilates instructor, so it's something that I've definitely grown up with, and I'm very, very grateful for that was instilled younger in my younger life. I spent a summer out in Banff National Park. Actually, it was technically Jasper National Park, but I was right on the border, and I worked for a company called Pursuit, and they run the Glacier Adventure Tours. So I was a guest service agent. I had just graduated university, and I was like, I need something fun. I want to get out of town. I want to do something completely different. And I was actually going back to school for my post grad. So I had a couple friends who had worked multiple seasons out at the ice field, and I was like, yeah, sounds great. Let me do it. Needless to say, I fell in love. So I remember calling my parents while I was um, still at work, and I was like, I'm not coming home. You're never gonna see me again. My parents were like, no, you have to finish school. Like you have a career. Again, being from Toronto area, like you go to school and you get a career. That is like very much
Yeah.
the way life is there. And so I did end up going home. It was only a year program, so I did that. There was actually like a co-op program that was part of my school. Like I was in that stream of things. I was in school for public relations, and my parents were like, "You have to do the co-op. You have to do the co-op." I think in their mindset was that I was gonna like get a job out of this, and I didn't. Like, I picked a job that was like a summer internship actually in the golf industry, which was super cool.
Oh,
Um, and then I was like, all right, completed it all, checked all the boxes. I'm moving back out west, and that was it. So 2018, I guess October of 2018 is when I moved officially to Canmore, and I've lived there ever since. I've lived in all the neighborhoods, it feels like, but I moved out in Canmore then. And then for running, so clearly I wasn't a runner growing up. If anything, I was a short distancer. I remember complaining if I ever had to run more than like 400 meters to my coach. And so when I started long distance running, I had friends that I had ran with that were like, "Are you okay? Like, is everything okay? Do you need help?" Because yeah, I would never run super far. I ran a few 5Ks probably in like university-ish. Um, but I didn't actually run my first 10K until 20 COVID. I think it was like April 2020. Ran my first 10K. Oh, but the reason I got into trail running was just they closed all the campgrounds and so many of the like big things I wanted to do out here. And so I had a friend who I owe her like so much of my running career to her. She was like, "Well, let's run them." So I started running and we just started like running all of these massive things that people like try and camp. And it was like such a surreal feeling to be able to do things that people save so much money or time or vacation time and travel to do. And we would do it in a day and I'd be home for dinner. Like it was such an incredible, it was really cool. I'm like, I don't think something people always ask me is like, do you ever feel like you get tired of the mountains or you get used to them? But you don't. Like, even when I walk in my door, I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. So being able to experience things like that, that are so well known was kind of why we got into it. Cause it was just, why not do it? And I love camping, but if I don't have to carry that much gear and I get to sleep in my bed, I'm happy.
that's hilarious. That is hilarious because
Yeah.
it's like sometimes I'll be walking with my mom and we'll be going on a nature walk or something and she's like, "You'd probably just rather run this, wouldn't you?" I'm like,
Yeah.
It's no." Like, "No." She's like, "You'd probably just rather run that,
Sometimes.
wouldn't you? Like, just speed this up a little bit." No.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
funny you say that though. And I would love for you to like, if you can, take yourself back a few years, back into that first trail run that you did, the first camp like area that you ran. Do you like, what was the kilometers? Did you even know what you were getting into? Was the person that you were running with very aware of everything? Like, how did you prep? How did you like take that first
Yeah.
feet on?
Yeah, so again, I was very lucky that I had so much time on my hands because of COVID. And my parents kept asking me like, "When are you gonna come back home? Like, when are you coming?" And I was like, "Why would I go home to isolation when all my friends that I see, like, I rarely see my friends indoors. Like, we do everything outdoors together. So our lives, as much as they did change, like the people that I saw or like kept close connections with didn't change because we spent a lot of that time outside together. So I was running with a bunch of friends. The one thing the goal for that summer was to run Berg Lake. So I don't know if you've been out there, but Mount Robson is one of the largest, I think it's the largest mountain in the Rockies. I should probably know that. Um, and it's like super hard to get camp reservations. Like it's just one of those places. It's about 4.5 hours away from here. So it's a whole ordeal to get there and camp it and whatnot. And we were like, let's run it one weekend. And we can pick whatever weekend we want. We don't have to base it on campsite reservations. So um yeah, we just were running and I knew that it was 42K because it was like my first marathon. I had run like a
What?
couple. Yeah, yeah, we were like, let's just do it. And I'm so lucky though that like a lot of my girl friends run. So I have a lot of I think there was 6 of us there who ran it all together. And so um yeah, we went out, we ran Berg.
Did you
On the
like
way back,
have
I will
all of the
never.
gels and like the extra like even from
Yeah,
somebody that has ran longer distances, like not to the ultras that you've done, but I like getting prepped for that first one, you have to like kind of prepare for maybe what might go wrong. Did your girlfriends just like
yeah.
have a lot of advice to share with you? And what did you put in your pack? Like how
Um
did you know how to prepare?
Yeah, I like in hindsight, looking back, we were blind. Like just the blind leading the blind, honestly. I had friends who had run, so they knew and like I remember like one thing now when I'm doing longer distance, I will never bring something that I know won't sit well in my stomach just because I don't
Mm.
want to be in that predicament. And I just like bought a bunch of random stuff. I was like, oh, I'll try this and that. I went to the store and I had like water flasks and things, and we had like back then too, we would always use the water treatment pills or whatever they
Yes.
are.
Yeah.
Where now I use like a filter. So it was just like things that we kind of knew from camping, and like I think we brought like sandwiches in our pack. Like we just kind of went out and brought a jacket. Like
You
it
know what's
was
awesome though is
I
like I'm asking
yeah.
you this, and as you're explaining, like, well, it's the blind leading the blind, and also we just like brought whatever we thought we needed. That's how it used to be. I feel like I feel like some people have gone to the opposite end. You know what I mean? And it's like you can over prepare and
Mhm.
overanalyze, and like let's just calm down, break it down to the fundamentals, the basics. So I really like hearing that because
Yeah,
that's not
and
like
that
that was like 50 years ago. That was 20 whatever in COVID, and you were still
yeah,
able to,
5
like,
years
do it for
ago.
your first
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, and
That's
I think too, social media, like, it's so funny. And again, it's been a really interesting. Social media has completely changed running in that sense that like you have to be prepared. You have to have like these fancy gels. You like need a run vest, which like I didn't buy my. I had like a hand-me-down run vest that like didn't the strap broke, and I was like, it wasn't until Berg Lake where I was like, okay, I probably should have something that doesn't have a broken strap. Like, and I never use even now. I don't use my run vest unless I'm going for like over 21K. Like
yeah.
I just like I don't need that much stuff. I have a handheld bottle if I'm really thirsty. Like again, if it's really hot, that it depends on the distance. But even I was at a race this past weekend, and right before the 5K race, I saw a girl eating a Martin gel, which there's nothing wrong with that. But I was like, oh my God, that's just like such high calories. Like that also that entire Martin gel is like $5 or $6. You don't need that. Like eat a banana
Totally.
or something. So I think yeah, and it's nothing, there's nothing, I'm not judging that person for doing that. I just think that social media and like when you're online and you're looking at all these things that makes you believe that you need to have a 90 carb
And, like, not
Martin gel
even
before
that. So
again
it's
I'm
like
eating there. But
it's like you're so right in saying that because it goes from the food, the nutrition to like also to your equipment, to your shoes, to your attire. Like it just becomes such this like and I should backtrack because it's like whatever gets you into fitness, health, great.
yes,
Do it. Like
exactly.
love
Yeah,
that. All the
yeah,
power to you. But also there is a moment to like take a step back and be like, okay, what do I actually need? Do I need to go to like whatever mech and buy all these fancy gels, or can maybe I walk away with a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and have that 30 minutes before I go for
yeah,
my 5K, like at the cost of 50 cents. And that's why, and it's like, so it's not an
yes,
expensive entry. And I think that's the beauty of running. And also you're outdoors and exploring. So let me now, I want to take this
yeah.
opportunity to get into kind of like the feeling that you had coming out of that first run of the camp at Berg Lake. Were you kind of buzzing and going like, I can't wait for my next one? Or were you like, ow, holy mother effer, like never again?
Can I say both? But I think that it was funny because I was with my good friend Bree, and I like looked at her. I think my watch died or something. Like I just didn't have an understanding of where exactly on the trail we were. And so when I turned to her, I was like, how much distance left? Or my watch stopped. There was something that I didn't have the right distance. And I turned to her and I was like, how much distance left? And she was like, oh, like 2K. And I was like, okay, like 12 minutes. I can make it through like 12 minutes. I can do that. And I think we hit the 12 minutes. I looked at her and I was like, and she was like, oh, actually there's like 7. I was like, are you kidding me? And I just remember to this day we talk about it. I'm like, never in my life have I been more mad at you. I was like, I was ready to leave you on this trail because that's a like I don't know, it's a big difference. Like 2K to 7 is like I'm doing closer to nothing to 10. Like
Y-
it's a big difference.
Yeah,
And I remember
that's
coming
not
out of
12
there, my
minutes. That's like
body.
it's like 35 more minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So she and I can't remember the exact distance, but I just remember being like so mad at her, and I just went silent. And still to this day, we talk about it. I'm like, I will never be as mad as you. I'm as mad at you as when we did Berg Lake because, oh my God, like I was so mad about that. But so when we finished, I obviously was very thankful because
Yeah.
had been told different times that we would be. Um, but yeah, definitely body. I feel like I was probably destroyed. Like I feel like that was probably a lot on my body. I also was not prioritizing strength training, which I think is so, 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 I can't even like put more emphasis on how important strength training and like cross training is to your body, especially when you get into like if you like no one can I can't say no one. A lot of people can't physically run 6K 6 days a week, every single week for years and maintain that without strength training. So, that's something that I've only recently come to learn. And people used to tell me that, and I was like, yeah, yeah, whatever. And then I'm like, oh, no, I understand now why it's important. And so when you get into this like more longer distance, whatnot, like it's so important to like, I was talking about this with my friend the other day, Bree, again. She was like, resting is also training, which I think a lot of people forget about. Like running is important, but resting is also just as important when you are in these like crazy training. I mean, even if you're training for a 5K, like if your body's telling you not to go, there are times you should push through that. But if you really feel like you shouldn't go, you probably shouldn't. Like your body needs. It's like that gut feeling when like if you feel like you shouldn't attend a party, you probably shouldn't. Maybe the universe is telling you something. Um,
Yeah.
Anyways, I went
Yeah.
on a small tangent about strength training, but I just think it's so important. And rest is just like people are like, "Why you're doing so much stuff?" And it's so easy to compare, especially in the long distance category. Like so many people are going to train differently too, right? Like it's not just like you're a runner, so you run, and everyone's running the exact same kilometers and everyone's doing the exact same training. Like it again varies the way that every sport does to
Yeah.
whoever's training
So
for
then
whatever they're training. Yeah.
you're finding yourself running how often? Like how many routes are you planning each week? And like the distance, I imagine there's some shorter ones, some longer ones, some higher elevation ones, like that kind of stuff, if you can share.
Yeah, yeah, so when I was peak training for my 100K, I was out about 6 days a week. I had, like, a chill day on Tuesday, chill meaning, like a chill day was, like, if I go 10K, we're laughing, that's super chill. So, I was doing, like, call it, like, 10 to 13K. It's my chill Tuesday. Wednesday was always intervals, so speed work or hill intervals, kinda, like, flip-flopped with that. Thursday was a little bit of a longer chill day, so just easy, and then Saturday was, like, big long run, high elevation distance, and then Sunday was a little more playing into that fatigue, exhaustion realm, so I was doing, like, also a long run, but on flat. So, like,
Mm-hmm.
I think my last peak weekend was, like, a 30 or 40K Saturday with about 1,500 to 1,000 meters of vertical, and then, like, 25 kilometers on Sunday. So, you're getting a lot of mileage for sure. I was averaging, I wanna say, like, around, like, 70K a week,
Yeah,
maybe,
wow.
um, on average, like, maybe I think my peak week was, like, 90K. Um, I actually probably could look at my Strava and find this out,
That's
but,
insane.
um, I I would also have rest weeks, like a rest week for me, so you go, like, 3 or 4 peak weeks, so you, like, build, and then you would, like, chill for a week. So my rest week was still, like, 65K, like, we were still I was,
Right.
like, just, like, chill intervals, not as much elevation, like, you're still getting that mileage. I work with a coach too who is a little bit higher mileage, and I'm ready to go with higher mileage. Um, but I also know some people who train lower mileage, higher vert, um, but also, like, biking is something that is they're doing, like, 4 days of running, 3 days biking. Like, it will really depend on the person, especially the coach you work with. Coaches are kinda like therapists, like, they're not always gonna be a good fit for you, and it's like, you gotta sometimes pop around and see who's gonna be, like, a good fit for you, so I'm very lucky that I have a coach that I adore that just, like, gets it, and we work very well, for how I wanna train. Because the other thing is I work full time, like, I don't this isn't my lifestyle, I'm not a pro athlete. Well, it's my
Yeah.
lifestyle, but I'm not being paid to do this, it is, at the end of the day, a hobby, so, she understood the days that I was just like, "I don't have time to do this, like, I have to work a 16-hour day," like, and she was just like, "Yep, we'll move things around," and so I don't feel like I feel like my life got in the way, but not because of my training.
Yeah, yeah. I have a couple questions about kind of that little brief segue. I want to ask you first about your coach and
Yeah,
how you decided that you needed one. Kind of thing, like as opposed to just being like
yeah,
I can lean on my friends and do my own research and all that stuff. And then also like when
yeah.
you do find yourself, because you said you don't mind the longer distances. What do you mind kind of thing in training when you look at that schedule and you're like, that's gonna suck. And if there's any sort of mental tool practice that you play with yourself, like to get through those battles, to get through those longer sessions or harder sessions? Yeah, so kind of a two-sided question there, both from the coach, but then also
Yeah.
how you push through those harder sessions.
Yeah. Yeah. No, those are great questions. Coach, simple enough. I need accountability. I need it. I like need someone to be like, have you done this? I need to spend money towards something
Yeah.
to actually be like, this is important. I think it's really easy to push things to the side, especially when you are like all my friends hike and they run and they do things, but and I will participate, but I always make sure I supplement with like things that are a little more aligned with my training plan. I also just wanted to commit. Like I think that also when it comes to when you look at a training plan or my week and kind of play it all out is I so badly wanted to do this race and come out feeling so good. Like and I think that that want was stronger than the dread towards it. Again, I've been running for a couple years. I've been running ultras since 2021 maybe. Um, and I know what it's like to come through a finish line and be like, "Oh my God, like what have I done?" And so I just was so ready to commit myself to that. I think too, it's like I have a lot of friends like getting married, buying houses, having families, and I'm like, this is kind of the only time that I can commit this much time to myself ultimately. And again, my partner is like I'm so grateful for him because I didn't actually realize how much I was gone until I'm injured right now, so I'm, like, spending a lot of time at home, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, wow, I was gone for really a lot," and he was like, "Yeah, you were gone for, like, 6 months," like, it's like working a part-time job, honestly, because it's, like, all I can think about, all I could talk about. I'm, like, making the meals I'm making at home are reflective of what I need for running. Like, if I'm going shopping, I'm buying, like, I need new shoes, I need gels, I need this, I'm, like, hanging out with people I run with, like, it's becomes your life. Um and I think looking at training plans, I found such a good coach that if there was anything that I really dreaded, I would message her and be like, "I can't do this." And she would be like, either like, "Yes, you can do this, believe in yourself," or she would be like, "Okay, let's change it. Like what works for you this week? Like how are you feeling?" Or if it like weather sucked, like things like that. We always work through it. But I don't think I I say this now because it's probably over. And maybe if you asked me in the moment, I could have told you all the workouts I hated when they came up. But there really wasn't anything that I would dreaded because I knew at the end of the day, it's like it's all building the blocks. Like you're stacking bricks to what your ultimate goal was. This was my ultimate goal. Um, and I was just ready to do whatever I needed to do to get there. Like it just and I knew that's the other thing is you accept that it's going to suck. Like you accept that not every run's gonna be your strongest run. I've heard the analogy before is like a third of your runs really, really blow. They suck. You don't feel strong. They're horrible. A third of your runs will feel okay. They're just like you're just out and about, and the other third should feel really, really good, and you feel really, really strong. And if you're not hitting all three of those within your runs, you're doing something wrong. Like your training's not hard enough, or your training's too hard. So I felt really great because I actually felt that way. Like I would say ultimately, like I did feel really good at the end of it. But running also is like I always say, your body. If you train, your body's going to take you. You're training your heart ultimately at the end of the day. It's like for these longer distances for your heart rate to be able to sustain this, but it's a mental battle. Like you are 100% training your mental side of being allowing you to not hit the pain cave too deep to be able to pull yourself out. Once you hit a certain level of like, wow, this sucks. I don't want to be here. It's so hard to pull yourself out of that. And so it's building that resiliency internally to be like, I can do this. Like I have trained to do this. Because it's so easy then too when you're looking at workouts, being like, well, I skipped a lot of these hard workouts. Maybe if I had done that, this would feel better. Because I didn't want to feel that way. I wanted to be like, I've done everything I physically can to get here. Um, and so you just like I was doing CrossFit for a while because I found that was like one way that my brain was allowing me to do really hard things. Like I have found ways to train my brain as well as my body within this because it sucks. Like it's not no if you I would love for you to find one ultra runner who's like I had the best time for all 20 hours. No, like at some point you're like, who am I and why did I decide to do this?
Totally. that. You want to be in a pain cave and train that. You also want to train your heart to be in this like nice steady BPM. Like you want to kind of feel all the highs and the lows during your training, because you know you're going to feel that during the event. And that is what I want to ask you about, because you did just kind of come off, I believe it was your biggest event yet, and I want you to share what that experience is like. I know you mentioned you have an injury now, if your injury is because of that. And yeah, just if you can talk us through what that event was, and kind of the stats around it maybe as well. I think that'd be super interesting.
Yeah, so I just raced at the beginning of August the Fat Dog 100K. So that's located in Manning Park, BC, which is I believe it's a provincial park, not a national. It's about an hour and a half outside of Abbotsford East. So more in Ontario, BC. It is actually 107 kilometers because they're evil, and it's about 4,500 meters of vertical gain. So it's a big mountain run. There's some big climbs in there. Yeah. So my injury is actually from my race, which I sprained my ankle pretty good at about 2.5K in.
No.
So, yeah. So it happened. I have floppy ankles, as I like to say. So I sprained my ankle. Actually, it's my right one. So I had sprained my ankle May of 2024. So it kind of happened. I pulled off to the side. I was kind of freaking out. I knew my heart. I was panicking because I had worked so hard to be here, and it happened so early on in the race. And so I was I don't know if I'm panicking because my ankle or because I'm just pissed that this happened. And so I stopped. I was with my friend Bree as well. She was racing the same event. So I stopped. I knew that I had another 5K, I think it was, to the first aid station, where I could probably tape it, take some drugs. I was okay, I'm going to make it to at least the next aid station. So I made it there. They do have a few aid stations that you're not allowed to DNF, what stands for did not finish. So if you DNF a race, it means that halfway through or at some point during the race, you called it. You did start it, but you didn't finish it. It was what they consider a backcountry aid station. So there was it was somewhere you didn't DNF because you eventually had to still walk out of that aid station. So you kind of want to make it to an aid station where your crew is. So I taped up my ankle. Took some Advil or whatever I took. I don't know. I don't even remember. I continued on my way for about another 7K until I hit another backcountry aid station. But the aid station after that was where I was actually picking up. Jody was chasing me. So I was I just have to make it to that aid station. There was a medic tent, so I could kind of get an idea of what was going on with my ankle. So I get to, it was actually at the 30K mark. So I did 30K on it, or 27. Got to the medic. They were yeah, that's not great. That's obviously not. It wasn't. They didn't recommend me running on it, but I don't think they could tell me not to. So they basically just were if you continue on, do not roll it again. It will not be good if you roll it again. And they were keep going. You're just going to be in a lot of pain. So this is Jody, and I was all right, let's do this. So we went out together for another 52 kilometers. So at that point I was at 75, and I was well, I have to finish.
Oh my
I've done this much already. And I was only coming in about an hour and a half to each aid station. I was only coming about an hour and a half beyond my projected time, so I was I'm still moving semi-fast. I'm not completely lagging behind. It wasn't until the second to last aid station that I started to it was really hurting. And then I went out for the last leg. So God bless, my friend Gaspar joined me. He is actually dating one of my really good friends from university who I was on the dance team in university with. And he was I will never do this, and I want to be a part of it. So I'll crew you, or pace me. He ended up pacing me.
Wow.
So, it's very rare to find someone that willingly paces you, because it is a whole weekend you're dedicating. We actually went out at about 2 a.m. on the leg. So he was up all night. There's a lot of reasons a lot of people don't. You don't ask people to pace you for sure. But the last leg was 17.5K and about 1,000 meters of elevation. So it was a really big. and I would have been sitting at 90K at that point. So yeah, that leg killed me. Like, I've never experienced anything harder in my life. I wanted to be like heli off the mountain. I was like so ready to be done. And I've honestly never been in a position where there is no other option. Like, I felt so hopeless. I was so ready to be done. My ankle was killing me. I was just like, get me off this mountain. Why does anyone do this? This is the stupidest thing I've ever done.
Wow.
And then the only option was to finish. Like, there was no calling it. There was like nothing. Like, you have to make it to the next aid station, which was the finish line. So I definitely swore a lot. There were a lot of tears. The last leg took me like 6 hours. It took me about 6 hours to do 17K, which is a long time. But I ended up coming in just over 24 hours, which was like way longer than I had anticipated I'd be. I remember when the sun came up, I was like still wearing my headlamp, and Papa turned to me and he was like, "Do you want to take off your headlamp?" And I was like, "Has it been nighttime?" I was like, "What time of day is it even?" So it was honestly such a unique experience. I feel like I didn't even do it. Like, I know that I did it, but because I wanted it to be over so fast, like, I don't think I did it the way I wanted to do it. So yeah, it's been interesting. So yeah, now I'm off. I'm 5 weeks since the race, or I guess like almost exactly a month, because it was August 9th. I'm still swollen. I have a fracture.
Wow.
And I'm tabled for the foreseeable future, which is really hard. But when I did continue running, I knew I would probably be sitting myself out for about 3 months. But this was the goal. I wanted to do 100K before I turned 30. And so this was kind of it. I was like, I'm here. I feel good. Honestly, if I rolled my ankle further into the race, I probably would have called it. But at 2K, I was just feeling so good. I was so ready to keep going.
Right.
And this isn't me endorsing running on an injury. I am like so against that typically. And it's funny because so many people are like, wow, that's like shown so much strength and resilience. And I'm like, we shouldn't be like endorsing running on.
Like, there's a time and place. Yeah.
Yeah. And did I push it too far? Probably. Like,
yeah.
Do I regret it? I don't know. I think it's still too soon to answer that. Ask me maybe in about a year if I'm still dealing with problems from it. But yeah, it was my biggest race I've ever done. Previous to that, I had run 84 kilometers previous to that, at a different rate. So 100K felt attainable because I came through the finish at 84, and I was like 16 more kilometers I could have done. Will I go beyond 100 kilometers? I don't think so. Not because I don't think I can't do it, but it takes so much time to train. Like, I can't work a full-time job and train for 100 miles. Like, that just feels, I can't. I struggled with it doing 100K. So.
And that's the thing, right? It's like so easy for you to toss around these like kilometer numbers and mile numbers and these events and these dates and these exciting things that we like want to do. But when it comes down to the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the nitty gritty, the schedule of it all, you are sacrificing time with friends, time with family, and it's sacrifices that you want to make, but it does have to be something that you genuinely, over and above anything else in life, want to commit yourself wholeheartedly to. Because I think it was one of the Cocodona, I think one of the runners there was talking about how like the only thing that gets you through a run like that is your grit, like your interest and motivation internally. There cannot be anything else other than like 110% commitment internally from yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that it's events like these and people like you that I'm mesmerized by, because it does show like the power of personal interest and motivation to get you through things that you truly think are impossible or that humans are not capable of doing. It is a very, very incredible feat that you took on, and to do it with an injury is, like you said, like you don't know if that was the right thing to do or not, but you did it, and you made a decision at the time that you did with the facts that you were given, and you saw the other side of it. So I commend you for that. I mean, obviously, being injured now is not sweet, but it does show you what you're actually capable of, which is, I think, my favorite thing about taking these kind of events on, is it does prove to you that you don't really know what you're actually capable of doing, which is kind of like, it gives me butterflies thinking about, because that's, I mean, the whole podcast is called Leave Average for Joe, because it's like pursue shit, pardon my French, that makes you like a little freaking nervous and kind of like really shitting your pants, really thinking about, because I think when you commit yourself to stuff like that and prove to yourself that you're capable of it, then you just open up these new doors. And I imagine some doors have opened up for you since completing that event, or even during your training of that event. And maybe it's like you don't know what those are right now, but in the future, I think they'll show themselves. I really do want to kind of ask you about your now current but also future interests in the community of trail running in Canmore, in your like professional career, and how you kind of see yourself in the next 5-ish years, coming off of this big event, and where your interests lie now.
Yeah, that's a good question. It's like it's so funny because my physio works really closely with like Olympians, and she's like, that's always the question you get after doing something big, is like, what's next?
Yeah,
Where, especially in the Olympics, everyone's always like, you won the gold. What do you do next?
totally.
And again, I'm not in the Olympics or anything, but I don't know. I've like kind of perused a little bit what races I'll be interested in next year. Um, I would love to chase 100K again. When I finished the race, I said I would never do it, but I do think that I owe it to myself to do it like at my 100% level. I think a lot of it will come down to like my diagnosis once, like I say, once well settled. I don't even know. Like we'll see what that looks like. I'm typically like a 50 to 60K runner. That's like where I find myself to be very happy in. And so maybe I'll do a couple of those. Maybe I'll go for 100K next year. I don't really know. I don't know. Like I have my sights set on a few things, but I like to compete close to home. I'm not like a very fast runner by any means. Like I'm definitely like a mid packer. So I'm not going to any like crazy worldwide events or anything. And I'm very happy with that. I think it keeps the pressure off of the hobby, which I'm happy about. I can be pretty competitive. I'm not like the most fun person to play a board game with. And so, yeah, I don't know what that's going to look like. I competed or I raced a lot this year, like away from home, where it was just big drives, big weekends, time off work, which was really hard. Like you didn't get that like downtime that I typically like to take after a race. So I don't know. There's just, and again, like, and then that also could be a couple, like I may not race, but I might set my sights on a couple big trails out here or endeavors. I know it's like I don't usually have it like so open like this, but I think that my injuries kind of slowed me down a little bit and been like, okay, really consider what you want to do, where you want to go. Again, my
life's talking to you a little bit right now.
Pardon me?
I said maybe life is talking to you a little bit right now, and you're just listening. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Sarah, what is it like to be like you mentioned at the top of the episode, your interest in content creation and marketing. Do you find yourself interested in outdoor content creating? Like, what is your specialty in that world of things, in your professional world of things?
Yeah. So I work full time as a marketing manager. And that's like all things marketing, like email marketing, website marketing, and collateral, just kind of everything. But I definitely really enjoy doing on my freelance, my like free time. I do more like user generated content, kind of the stream it's falling into, like a lot of outdoor adventure. I work with like a lot of tourism boards out here as well, so destination like Alberta, and there's like leads. I work with resorts, like outdoor brands. I really love just like it feels so natural to be able to show, and I think this is like kind of the beauty of where social media is going, is it's like it's very natural for me to show that because it's the lifestyle I'm living anyways. And so it doesn't feel like an ad or like I'm showing a brand. It's just like the last content project I did, I had to go paddleboarding and on a gondola for a company. And so
Wow.
that's like something I totally would do on my own. So it was just like brought a couple friends along and we just like paddled and it was a really beautiful day. And it was nice to be able to just like pair it with some content creation. So I've been super lucky to be kind of deep in that in the community I'm in. But I love it. I just love sharing things. I think there's so much power to in being able to do exactly like what you're doing is being able to connect with people and show people different worlds and different things that happen. I think social media often blurs a lot of that. And people feel like so much is unattainable. But being like, I've been trying to like share a little bit more about my injury and how I'm still doing things, even though I'm not running, which I know that's like what I share a lot on my social about. It's just like being real. I'm not doing things for likes or comments or engagement or whatever. It's like, hi, this is me, this is what I'm doing. And sometimes it sucks. Like it's not always mountains and sunrises and perfect runs.
Yeah, that's so important to have the reality of what life looks like, not just the highlights. I personally love your content, what you're putting out there. Would you share, I guess, with listeners where they can find your stuff, where they can follow your journey?
Yeah, so I'm Adventuring Sarah on most of my social platforms. I usually use Instagram mainly. I am the worst at answering any messages. If anyone really needs me, feel free to message me twice because you're not bothering me. But yeah, thank you also for those kind of words. I try to be not I don't try to take myself too seriously. Honestly, I feel like we live in a world where I can do that in my work life, but at home, I just want to be able to share my adventures. I think also because so much of my family don't live here. It's nice to like feel like I'm keeping them updated instead of having to sit on phone calls with people.
Yeah, totally. Sarah, before I let you go, I do love to ask a question to guests. If you know you need time to think about it, that's totally fine because it is kind of just like lofted at you. But if there was to be kind of one personality trait or one, I guess, personality trait that you could share with the world that you wish everyone had. You kind of had like a magic wand and cast it upon everyone. What would be that personality trait that you wished everyone had?
That's a good question. I would say the ability to make people feel welcome. I feel like I've met people in my life where I'm like sometimes like, well, I don't know if they like me or they don't like me. And then you meet the people who like make you feel so welcome and comfortable in a situation where like, and not because of the because of the things they said, but they just have like a warm person, like they have warmth to them. And I think if I could allow everyone to, or if I could have everyone make me feel super warm and fuzzy, especially welcome and especially like out of the norm situations for you. Like someone's never been to a run club. I've been very lucky that run clubs have been great for me, but some people are super nervous to go to places because they feel like they're not going to feel welcome. And I think if you could have everyone just have a little warmth in them so that new situations aren't that scary. I think a lot of people don't try new things because it does seem really scary because of the people already in it. That would probably be mine if that makes sense.
Oh, it does, and I can't agree with you more. It is like what you said, the feeling that you get when you're around people that make you feel welcome is that sort of like warm, like safe, comforted feeling.
Yeah.
And you immediately feel the opposite when you're around people that are like cold or not feeling like you're genuinely accepted into the room or the group or the community. And you know the difference. Anyways, I love that. I haven't really had a guest mention that one yet, so that's really exciting for me. Yeah, I'm gonna share in the show notes how people can find you. If there is anything else that you want to share, let me know. But otherwise, honestly, it was just such a pleasure to, I guess, virtually meet you and listen to your journey. I'm so inspired by you. So take the time that your body needs. Obviously, I know you know that. And then I'm just excited to continue watching you take on the world.
Oh my God, thank you so much. This is so kind. It's so lovely chatting with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Reliving it all actually wasn't that bad.
Good. Good. All right, so take care of yourself and we'll chat.
Thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. Your support means the world to me, and it's the only way that I can continue to grow the show. If you found this episode inspiring, interesting, insightful, please share it with your circle of friends, of family. It really does help us build up this show. You can connect with us on social media, Leave Average for Joe. You can also email admin@briggsandco.ca if you have any questions, any comments about the episodes, or maybe you have a guest that you want me to bring on. Always love connecting with you guys. Please take care of yourselves. Hug your loved ones extra tight. And please keep leaving average for Joe.